Hey guys, today I'm bringing you the second part of my fat loss series. I'm going to discuss how you can use nutrition and diet as a great tool for losing fat healthily. It is said to account for about 70% of fat loss, and so it is a really vital thing to understand. Today I'm going to be covering calories, macro and micronutrients in food quality, and then finally fasting methods. As usual, I will leave timestamps in the description so you guys can skip to the topics you're most interested in. Let's get into it. So before I go into anything, I can't stress enough that everyone is different, so what I might say here might not work for you. You know, I'm telling you things that I've got from my own research and experiences, so I hope to bring the best content to you, and I really hope that this video helps everyone who watches. So calories are things that people talk about constantly, whether they're good or bad, but the truth is your body really can't tell the difference because it is just a unit of energy. So you could technically lose weight on a few chocolate bars a day. I'm not sure if that's the best idea, and you could also put on weight, eating really healthily. It's just about how many calories you eat. So throughout your day, you are going to expend an amount of calories by doing exercises or whatever your activity level is, and then your task is to take in enough calories to kind of fuel those exercises or activities. A really simple way of losing weight is eating a caloric deficit of about 200 to 400 calories less than your daily required amount. Obviously this will require calorie counting, which can be quite tricky and tedious, but I will leave a link in the description for a calorie calculator that goes over your weight, your age, your height and how much exercise you do, and that gives you a nice rough estimate of how many calories you should have a day. Also, the MyFitnessPal app is something I've used in the past. It's really great for counting calories of what you're eating. You just scan the item that you're eating and then it goes through and it tells you what else is in it as well. The reason why I suggest a 200 to 400 calorie deficit is because any less you won't really stimulate change, and then any more it can kind of put your body in shock and it might retain as many calories as it can, so you won't really see progress in your fat loss or weight loss routine. So I think the key here is just to stay updated with yourself and then maybe adjust how many calories you're eating every 2 weeks or so. But the key here is just for stable fat loss over a nice long period. On the other hand, to what I've just said, if you don't want a calorie count, then don't. I don't personally, because I think I've got a relatively good idea of what I'm putting in my body from kind of years of calorie counting, or I hope so at least. Kind of just go by what you're doing in the day. If you have quite a sedentary day where you don't really do anything, maybe don't have that snack. But if you've just busted yourself at the gym, you could probably deserve a packet of crisps or something like that. Like anything, it's just balance. Fitness instructors and kind of instructors in fat loss use this concept a lot. It's intentionally eating basically, or mindful eating. The key is to basically think about what you're eating and what you're doing. So if you're going to have a chocolate bar, what are you going to do to kind of get that back? Maybe go for a run or something like that. And it goes the other way around. If you've had a long day running or a really hard day at work, maybe you can reward yourself. And the principle is just to stay balanced and reward yourself so you don't relapse, and then maybe punish yourself so you don't really fall off what you've been working for. So on to macronutrients. These are basically protein, carbohydrates and fat. The key here is just to stay balanced again. The recommended kind of daily amount in your diet is 10 to 35% protein, 45 to 65% carbs, and then 20 to 35% fats. And I'm aware such diets is key to kind of play around with these ratios. However, from what I've read and followed, this isn't necessary. Dr. Campbell in his book The China Study actually goes over the effects of high fat diets, which can be really negative in kind of the long term. This is a really amazing book and it covers a lot of nutrition and disease, and I will leave a link in the description because it's definitely worth a read. The MyFitnessPal app is also really good for tracking macros, so it can be a really useful tool to stay on top of those. So protein, which is already a really heavily valued macronutrient, especially if you go to the gym, is also a really useful tool for fat loss for many reasons. One is associated with a filling effect of protein, and this is because it reduces the quantity of ghrelin, which is also known as the hunger hormone, giving you less appetite, causing you to eat less. Furthermore, due to the high thermic activity, many of the calories taken in from protein are burnt quite readily, and this goes hand in hand with the increased metabolism on a high protein diet, which is said to attribute for about 80 to 100 calories burnt throughout the day, according to an article I read on Healthline, which I'll link in the description. Furthermore, a protein high diet is more likely to build muscle quickly, and that will make it more prominent in your build, maybe making fat less prominent if that is your goal. So similar to calories, protein requirements can be quite tricky to work out. I think if you're building muscle, going by a gram of protein per pound in body weight can be quite a useful tool, which I've done in the past. However, it's good to go by medical or government recommendations and personal experiments, whatever works for you, because someone who doesn't work out resistance training and just goes on runs is probably not going to need as much as someone who's deadlifting 200 kg or something like that. I will go deeper on protein one day because it is quite a large topic and I think a lot of people are interested in it, but for now I'm just going to say try to aim for a diet where you get protein from numerous sources, not just animals like chicken and kind of your lean sources. This is because high animal protein diets can have adverse effects, which is covered in the China study book as well, kind of linked to cancer growth and diabetes. Of course, this might be controversial because meat is massive in a lot of people's lives, but as I've been saying throughout this video and all my videos, balance is good, so try and get your protein from as many sources as possible. So on food quality, it can be hard to kind of see whether something is pumped with glucose or been battery farmed today, and it is hard to tell what's in our food and how it might affect your health. And this is why you should really strive to eat plenty of one ingredient whole foods such as fruit and veg. I appreciate this can be hard, and I think a lot of people can see this as a more expensive option. However, I think just eating fruit and veg or just buying it can be really cheap. I think it's when you kind of go into the healthy foods where, like maybe your vegetarian sausages and stuff like that, where it is kind of made up of just one whole foods, it can be quite expensive, whilst the processed counterparts are really cheap. My advice in this kind of tricky situation is to maybe set a few days where you make a dinner completely from scratch. This way you know exactly what's in your meal and how it's going to affect your health. But I think it is a tricky habit to pick up. Maybe just try checking the ingredients more often. If it's plastered with E numbers or something like that, sweeteners such as aspartame, maybe you should give it a miss. But if it's just made up of veg, meat and just on its own non-processed foods, maybe it's worth kind of picking up. It's a healthy, easy option. So to briefly touch on micronutrients, which are your kind of vitamins and minerals, I think regardless of whether you're trying to lose, gain or maintain fat or weight, you should strive to get all your nutrients throughout your healthy diet. Dr. Campbell actually goes over the benefits of seeking these nutrients in just foods rather than pills or tablets. However, I think in today's age this can be really tricky, and he does go over how a lot of people are deficient in B12 or iron because of farming methods and things like that, and soil depletion. So if you want to supplement your diet with it, that's a great idea, and that's exactly what it is. It's a supplementation. You shouldn't rely on these kind of things. I take a multivitamin and a cod liver oil every day just to make sure I hit all my nutrient goals. But to summarise on this, the key to your fat loss is very unlikely to be taking an extra glucosamine tablet because it's going to trigger more fat burning. It's never that easy. You should strive to have a complete diet and not really aim for one minuscule change, because it's not going to have a massive effect on your body. It's more a diet and lifestyle as a whole that's really going to get you where you want to be. So on to our final topic of the video, fasting, which is something that I've done on and off for quite a while now, and it is a simple way to boost your fat loss. I follow a 12 to 8 PM eating window, also known as intermittent fasting, and in between that, so 8 PM to 12 the next day, all I can have is water, black coffee and herbal teas. So that means no breakfast, and I'm sure that will come to a shock to many, but it works perfectly fine for me. So the reason why fasting is really great for fat loss is because whilst you're on this 16-hour fasting window, your body doesn't trigger an insulin response, and so it quite readily enters ketosis, which is basically where it burns fat as an energy source rather than the carbohydrates and the glucose that they provide. Obviously this fat burning is going to get rid of your fat quicker, and that's the whole aim of this video. People also go by the 1 meal a day diet. They'll maybe eat for 1 hour, have a 23-hour fasting window. The warrior diet basically has a 4-hour eating window. It can be different for anyone. The key is just to go what works in your lifestyle. You can eat from 9 to 5, you can eat from 2 till 10. It really doesn't matter. Just build it around your life so that it works for you and you don't fall off of it. The key to kind of getting the high fasting windows that you see in 1 meal a day, you will get the fasting effects and the ketosis effects for longer, but I find cramming all the calories and macros into 1 meal a day can be really tricky, so I choose to go for the intermittent fasting. Other health benefits of fasting I'll go over briefly. It's increased blood sugar and insulin control, which basically leads to lower likelihood of getting diabetes. It can fight excessive inflammation, it increases metabolism and production of growth hormones, which are all great things. I will go over this in a future video because it is really interesting topic for me, and I hope that it can help a lot of people. I'll also leave a link in the description for the Healthline article that I read up on fasting for the benefits of it, and that goes a lot more in depth than I have just done. And I'll also link a few YouTube channels that kind of cover fasting quite regularly that I use as a kind of tool to learn about it more. That's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. To recap, you want to eat at a slight caloric deficit. Make sure to hit all your macro and micronutrients as you should in any diet throughout your life. Food quality is big, and eating proper quality foods will help your fat loss as well as just your health in general. And finally, fasting can be a great tool kind of promoting fat loss, but also it comes with a whole range of other health benefits. Please give me feedback whether you like this video, whether it helped you at all on here or my Instagram page, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe with the notification button so you guys can stay up to date. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. Bye.